Today's lesson will review adding and subtracting decimals. It will review adding and subtracting integers that we learned earlier this year, and it will apply that knowledge to add and subtract positive and negative decimals. So please update your table of contents to start topic 4 notes. You should have these vocab words. We're going to go ahead and cover additive, inverse, and opposites today. So the definition of additive inverses and opposites are two numbers that are opposite distances on a number line. Their sum will equal 0. So you're going to have a negative and a positive number, and when you add them together, they will equal 0, like -9 and 9, 1/2 and -1/2, versus a non-example would be 1/5 and 5/1. These are not additive inverses or opposites, but they are called reciprocals. And the characteristics are that one will always be positive and the other will be negative. So they'll be the same number, but one will have a positive and one will have a negative sign. And the other vocab will be completed in a future lesson. In class, I showed a Shmoop video on decimals. You could search Shmoop and decimals on YouTube if you wanted to watch the video. And then I talk about why calculators are not allowed for topics 4 and 5. These are skills and computation you must show without a calculator. The calculator is like bumpers when you're bowling, and the bumpers have to be taken off for these two topics. And then just a little humor about, technology helping you. So in class, we talk about how it helps to think of decimals as money. So if we have $305 plus $1.72, hopefully you won't make the common mistake. So this is the common mistake. It's not worrying about the decimal placement and just adding straight down. And hopefully, if this happens to anyone, they'll look at it and think it's very unreasonable, because if you start with $305 and you're adding more money, you shouldn't have that value shrink to $4.77. So $4.77 being much, much too small. If you have a whole number, the decimal is going to go behind the last number. So in this case, 305.00 plus $1.72, and you will get $306.72. So now we're going to go ahead and fill in the note sheet. These are review problems. They're technically, I think, 5th grade level, but it's easy to forget, so we're definitely reviewing. So you line up your decimals in order to make sure that the correct place value is being added together. So 88.35 will go there, and $201, if you think of money, will go like that. Then you add straight down, and you should get 289 point, make sure you add in your decimal, 35. These little decimal T-charts are a nice way to make sure you line up your decimals, but you don't have to use them if you don't want to after you finish the note sheet. So we have 17 or $17 minus 1.4. So we are going to need to borrow on this one. Can't take 4 from 0, so you have to borrow here. You'll get 6, and that adds 10 more to the right. 10 minus 4 is 6. 6 minus 1 is 5, and we bring the 1 down. So it's 15.6. Bottom left, we're going to have 4.5 plus 987 thousandths. I went ahead and added my zeros in to hold the place value here, and then add down. So 7 plus 0, 8 plus 0, 5 plus 9 is 14, carry the 1, 4 plus 1 is 5. And then on this last one, 300.3 minus 2.5, you are going to need to borrow again. In this case, you're going to have to borrow all the way over here. That will become a 2. This will become a 9 because we're borrowing from what would have become 10. This one will also become a 9, and then the 3 becomes a 13. 13 minus 5 is 8. Bring down the decimal, and 9 minus 2 is 7, and we bring the 9 and the 2 down. Okay, so now we're going to do a quick review of integers since we covered this topic earlier in the school year. If you have 88 plus negative 91, and we're using box method, the sign to the left is the sign of the number. So the 88 is a positive because nothing's there, meaning it's positive, and the 91 is a negative 91. On the number line, this means we're going to go positive 88 to the right, then we're going to turn around and go negative 91 to the left, and therefore we are subtracting because we have different signs and we have overlap happening. You subtract and you will get 11 minus 8 is 3, 8 minus 8 is 0, so you have 3, but we've ended up on the negative sign because we have more negatives, so our answer is negative 3. For problem B, it's going to be negative 7 minus 34. So sign to the left is the sign of the number. This is a negative 7 and a negative 34. Therefore, these are going the same direction, left and then left again. So we're going to add them together because they're the same sign and we're going the same direction. So you're going to get 41, but we're ending up on the negative side. So this will be a negative 41. For C, we have negative 13 minus negative 12, and then students in class ask why this second line is here. It's not because we're going to do a different problem. It's to show what's happening in this problem. So this one's unique because we have a negative negative. We have a double negative, which means the opposite of negative 12. The opposite of negative 12 is positive 12. So that will be what we call bam bam or plus plus. So negative 13 and positive 12. Therefore, negative 13 and positive 12 go in each of those boxes. On the number line, we're going negative 13 and we're turning around and going positive 12. So we're subtracting and we have more negatives. So we end up on the negative side. For D, we have negative 41 and positive 60. Please pause the video and try this one. So it's a negative 41 and a positive 60. They are going different directions, left and then right, and we are subtracting. And because we have more positives, which is the 60, this will be a positive 19. Now, adding and subtracting decimals with positive and negative signs is combining these two concepts. So for E, we're going to have 59.3 plus negative 8.2. So I do have the box method here, but it's not on the note sheet. It's optional. So if you were doing box method, you'd have positive 59.3, negative 8.2, meaning we're going to subtract. There's more positives, so it will be a positive 51.1. Over here, it's negative 4.5 minus 28. If we did box method, these would both be in the negatives box. Therefore, we're going to add, and we line up our decimals, and you should get 32.5. Now, because this is 7th grade level, they are both negative. We have to worry about the sign of the number. So this one is a positive, and this one is a negative. On to G, we're going to have negative 85 cents or negative 0.85 minus negative 10.97. Well, we have our double negative happening here, so this will be a positive. So we're going to have a negative and a positive, meaning we will subtract. And you have to have the larger value on top. So in this case, it's the 10.97, because when we're subtracting, we have to take away from the larger of the two values. So you subtract, you'll get 10.12, and there are more positives, so it will be a positive 10.12. On H, it's negative 34.1 plus 65. So we need to subtract with the larger value on top, 65.0 minus 34.1. You are going to have to borrow on this one. So here you have to borrow. I didn't show it on here, but you have to borrow from the 5. It becomes a 4, and this becomes a 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. 4 minus 4 is 0. And there are more positives. Last two. Please pause the video and try these two before you see the answers. On to I, you have a bam bam, an opposite of a negative situation, so plus plus. Therefore, it's negative 5.8 plus 0.93, and they are different, so you're subtracting. You will have to borrow on this one, borrow from the 8, and then that becomes a 7. You also have to borrow from the 5 because you'll need to be able to subtract here. So you'll get 4.87, and there are more negatives, so it'll be a negative 4.87. Now, a lot of students think that J is the same as the one above it, but they're not, because this time it's a minus instead of a plus. So therefore, we're going to be adding these two, and you will get negative 99.1. And that is the end of today's notes.